In a small house in Badger, a rural town in New York State, a family is preparing to eat dinner. They bow their heads to pray, but before they can finish, a loud blast shakes the house and cuts off the electricity. The family members are knocked unconscious by the shockwave and wake up to find that the air is toxic. One by one, they start choking and die, except for the youngest girl who manages to crawl into a closet and hide. The scene then shifts to New York City, where Lauren, an exobiologist, is listening to the news about the worsening climate crisis. She hears that the Earth could face a disaster by 2030 if nothing is done to stop it. Then, a breaking news report interrupts the broadcast and announces that a huge explosion has occurred in Badger, killing everything and everyone within a 20-mile radius. The reporter says that the origin of the blast is unknown, and it could be either a terrorist attack or a natural phenomenon. The air around the town is contaminated, so the authorities have cordoned off the area and are wearing protective suits. Lauren sinks into a bathtub and recalls her childhood memories, where she saw a man in a car who looked like her father. Soon after, 2 U.S. soldiers knocks at her door, who force her to come with them. They tell her that she has to participate in a secret research project related to the explosion in Badger. They take her to a research facility near the blast site, where she meets Colonel Emmerich. He introduces her to David, an astrobiologist who will work with her on the project. He then explains that the explosion was caused by a meteorite that hit the ground and released poisonous gases into the air. He assigns Lauren and David to investigate the crater and collect any data they can find. When they reach the site, David is disappointed that there is nothing interesting to see, except for a hole in the ground. Lauren, however, notices a small red plant growing in the soil and feels a weird bond with it. She wants to take it with her, but decides to leave it alone and just snaps a photo of it. As she continues her investigation, she learns that a similar event happened in Russia. A meteorite crashed there and emitted toxic gases that killed most of the people nearby, but the Russian government covered up the incident and destroyed the alien object. A woman who witnessed the event was interviewed, but she was found dead a few days later. Later on, Lauren watches an autopsy of Robert, one of the victims of the Badger explosion. As the doctors cut his body open, a strange dark blue liquid comes out of him, but then reverses its direction and goes back inside him. Suddenly, Robert sits up alive, shocking everyone in the room. The head of the autopsy tells one of the doctors to check his pulse. The doctor nervously does so and stutters that he is cold and has no blood pressure, which is impossible. Soon after, panic breaks out in the hospital as people run away in fear. Lauren looks into the morgue and sees that Robert is not the only one who has somehow resurrected. Out of the 1,300 people who died in the Badger explosion, only 49 came back to life. A scientist explains that these 49 people live near the meteorite impact site. He hypothesizes that they not only breathe in the toxic air, also some fragments from the blast, which changed their internal organs into a new kind of life form. Lauren tells Colonel Emmerich about the similar case in Russia, but he does not trust her. She then contacts the government, including the president, and tells him about it. The president is also skeptical, but he agrees to Lauren's request not to burn the 49 victims so they can be studied further. Before resuming her investigation, Lauren recalls her childhood memories again, which show more details of her father saying that they were going to a secret place and telling her not to tell anyone. She then goes to the morgue where the victims are kept and walks around casually. She tries to communicate with the child victim, but ignores a phone call from David. Suddenly, the child victim reacts for the first time when he sees Lauren's cell phone wallpaper, which is the picture of the small red plant from the crater. She calls the colonel and David and informs them about this. She also asks the colonel if she can take one of the victims to the crater site, but he denies her request as they still do not know what these victims have become. David then mentions that when Muslims pray, they have to face a certain direction, which is Mecca, their holy city. He notices that these 49 victims are all facing north, which is where the meteorite hit in Badger. Then, another soldier interrupts their conversation and tells them that the news is leaked. The breaking news shows an alien object growing from the crater, exposing Lauren's secret of the small red plant, and that the victims are facing it. Because of this, the colonel finally orders the military to take Robert, one of the undead victims, to the crater site to find out more about it. When they get there, Lauren and David are shocked to see that the tiny plant has grown into a huge tree in just 2 days. The tree has poisoned the soil and the air around it, creating its own atmosphere. When Robert is brought into the tree's atmosphere, he comes back to life as a different species. He starts talking to Lauren and tells her that he cannot live in his old environment anymore, as this atmosphere is his source of life. He implies that the aliens planted the tree to make an environment for their species. While Lauren is seen on TV giving a press conference about the tree, the scene switches to a mysterious man who is watching her. Then, at Lauren's apartment, her father shows up unexpectedly. Lauren is scared and uneasy around him, even though he does not seem abusive. Soon after, Colonel Emmerich calls her back as Robert wants to talk only with her. He also gives her a list of questions to ask Robert. Lauren then questions Robert about the aliens' intentions. The alien who took over Robert's body tells her that their planet was destroyed, so they looked for a new one. They decided to settle here because their plants could only grow on Earth. He also says that they received the coordinates and data about the planet from a human named Supernova 94. Meanwhile, Robert becomes furious when he sees two scientists studying the tree and inserting a device into it. He asks Lauren to make them stop, but she tells him that the military will not let the tree grow as it could harm the Earth's atmosphere. The alien then uses his power to control one of the scientists and make him stop his work. The soldiers react by aiming their guns at him, but he causes more trouble by controlling the soldiers and making them shoot each other. On the other side, the Air Force fires missiles at Robert, but something stops the missiles and makes them explode in midair. It turns out that the tree has created a protective barrier around it, shielding anyone inside its atmosphere. Somewhere else, the mysterious man watches the news and hears the reporters mention Supernova 94. He recognizes the name and opens a book that has Supernova 94 written on it. A few days after the military fails to destroy the alien plant, the world is in chaos. Lauren sees the news of crops dying, earthquakes, and strange noises happening around them. People from different countries are praying for their survival as humanity faces extinction. The news also shows that the military has decided to burn the victims because they do not want to take any chances. Lauren tries to reconnect with her father by visiting her old home where she feels nostalgic about her previous life. However, she leaves the house and chooses not to see her father again, instead going back to the crater site. In a voiceover, Lauren expresses the pain of feeling abandoned, like she does not fit in anywhere. She also feels a sense of relief when the world ends. She gets to the site and sees Robert standing next to the huge tree. The alien tells her that their life is growing under the earth, and it is all because of Lauren. He says that the plant on Earth was their last hope to live, and Lauren chose to let it live. Then the alien shows her memories of her father, who was a senator, going to a secret place, which was Area 51, where a UFO had crashed. Before entering, her father told young Lauren to wait outside. But after she went to the restroom, young Lauren heard some voices from afar. She followed the voices and found some authorities talking to her father about an alien trying to plant something there. Then, young Lauren somehow discovered the room where the alien was held and touched the alien, altering her DNA into half alien and half human. She saw a planet that was dying, and then she fainted before her father found her. After that incident, Lauren's intelligence became extraordinary. She even drew a blueprint for a rocket when she was 8. Once, young Lauren built a device to communicate with the aliens. It is revealed that she used the username Supernova 94 after looking at a calendar with a picture of supernova and the year 1994. After recalling everything, Lauren cries as she finally understands the truth. Robert then removes her mask, and she can breathe in that environment without any problem. The mysterious man before turns out to be a CIA agent who somehow intercepted Lauren's line and took notes of what she said to the aliens. At the same time, strange egg-shaped objects are appearing around the world. The aliens stay inside the objects, but they emit toxic gases that kill everything around them before they come out. The objects are also connected to the roots of the huge tree, as Lauren predicted before. As the movie draws to a close, we witness the colossal tree taking over the planet and starting the process of wiping out humanity. Meanwhile, Lauren expresses a sense of comfort and belonging as she utters the words, "I am finally home." And with this, the movie comes to an end. This movie had one of the most abrupt ending I've ever seen. Comment what you guys think of this. For more, please don't forget to like and subscribe.